and in others in Manhattan. These were all ranked very highly. They had very good scores from their principals. They were loved in their communities. They had been there for a long time. So to have them not receive the funding and the grants that they're used to, very disruptive to the school. So we've all been pushing back, working with the speaker. We had a big rally about this on the steps of City Hall to try to get them to reverse course on this. We also, excuse me. Also, I was proud to stand and reintroduce Rider's Law as a co-sponsor at the City Hall at last couple of days. Last week, tragically, a horse collapsed and died in Central Park. And then just yesterday, a teenager that was thrown from a carriage that had tipped over was killed. So that is 2 horse carriage related horrific incidents that were completely avoidable. And I have been pushing big to get a hearing on this. And the speaker did announce yesterday that they're going to have a hearing on Rider's Law next month, which would ban this practice. And I think that's an incredible step forward on something we've been trying to move to the council for a long time. I'm setting up my district office. I am really excited because this week I made my final hire, which is my Community Board 2 liaison, and that is Grace Fitzgerald. If she's standing back there, she's going to be point for all of you moving forward, and we're working on constituent issues and helping with board business down here in the village. I also want to introduce my Chief of Staff, Hannah Moses, who is another veteran of the Botcher regime. Just kidding. Did legislation and budget work for then Councilmember Botcher. I'm very excited to have her back in this new capacity. So it's been 1 month, been 4 weeks, but I am really looking forward to all of the work ahead and for all of the partnership with all of you. So just wanted to come and say hi, but you'll be seeing a lot of me over, my time in office. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Wilson. I will go to, if you don't mind, there might be some questions. Are you open to answering a few questions?
I can do.
Great. I see Dr. Smith online has her hand raised. And again, this is for board members who have questions.
Thank you, Madam
Dr.
Chair.
Smith?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Smith. Congratulations on your on getting elected. Did DYCD give the not-for-profit, I know that not-for-profit, a reason as to why they did not consider them for Compass this time around?
So they were considered, but they did not score high enough on the new RFP and scoring system, which we've been pushing back on to get more transparency on. We would like to see more about how the rating systems were used. There's been some criticism that there was, there's some objectivity in some of the scoring. We've also heard that just about all of the principals rated them very, very high. There were but they didn't consider family or feedback from the families, which would have been very, very high. So they issued they wanted to do a new RFP because they said it helps, when they issue these, it helps make the programs stronger, and that what's the word I want? Yes, competitive and innovation in the programs. But I'm just not buying that, because what we're doing is having the new programs are committing to do all the things that the last one was doing. So it's like, well, if we're just going to repeat what the other one had, why are we switching it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. They also took away from community-based organizations that had long time done after-school programming, like Hudson Guild, which covers a huge swath of, not as much in the village, but in Chelsea. So we're pushing back pretty fiercely on this. And I hope that the commissioner and the mayor are going to hear our calls and change their mind on some of this.
Okay, thanks a lot. What happened to those children, though, that were part of those places? Were they able to go to other places? But that probably outside of their neighborhoods.
So they awarded the RFP to other programs
within the same district.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I have some criticism of that too, because the one for the CBOs, they gave it to the Police Athletic League, which is way up on the northern end of the district and kind of leaves out a lot of Chelsea. So, but there won't be any program. There will be something. It's just not the one that has historically been there and was very popular.
Thank you so much. I'm going to be keeping up with how your progress on that. Okay, and good
Please
luck.
do.
Good luck.
Great. Are there any other, Rich? Can we get Rich a microphone, please? Thank you.
Aware of the product from New Visions? Are you aware of the product from New Visions for public schools that was cut?
No, I'm sorry, I'm not.
Okay, all right, I'll make sure
Yeah, I'd love
somebody
to
follows up with you.
talk to you more about that.
Similar thing, it got cut, it's funded for all these years, I'll be sure they get to you.
Yeah, please. You can connect with, exchange with Hannah and we'll,
Great. Are there any other questions from board members for Councilmember Wilson? All right, seeing none.
All
Thank you
right.
so much.
Thanks, everybody. It's really great to be with all of you. See you soon.
And now I'm going to turn it back over to our second vice chair, Donna Raftery, who's going to continue the public session.
Okay, next up for the non-agenda items, Carol Boutry. Chris, are you here? You have 2 minutes.
Hello, everyone can hear me?
Yep.
Carol Putre-Chez here, a 40-year resident of the East Village, on the board of the 9th Precinct Community Council and the Bowery Alliance of Neighbors. And although I'm in Community Board 3, we share the issue of the closing of the men's shelter at Bellevue and the shelter on East 3rd Street becoming an intake center for all of the homeless men in New York City. I'd like to present you with some interesting numbers. As per a NewYorkCity.gov website, intake for one homeless person takes 6 to 8 hours. Using the lower estimate of 60 men a day coming daily to the shelter and 6 hours intake for each one, each case manager, if they worked a 12-hour day, which we know that would never happen, will be able to process 2 men a day. How many caseworkers will be at the shelter? 10? Okay, that's 20 men per day. 20? Okay, that's 40 men per day. Do the numbers. There will be an overflow every day, increasing daily. And where will these waiting to be processed men be spending their time? Not in the dreary shelter, but on our charming streets. I also have crime statistics from the 13th Precinct, which is the precinct of the Bellevue Center, and the 9th Precinct, which is our precinct, both for the week of April 7th, when the Bellevue Center was in full operation, and also again this week. Felony assault, 13th Precinct, double the number of that of the 9th Precinct. Grand larceny, 13th Precinct, double the number of that of the 9th Precinct. Retail theft, 13th Precinct, triple the number of the 9th Precinct. As you can see from the above, the blasé attitude of it's only for intake in and out of our politicians is far from the truth. Brace yourselves. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I hope we can work together on this. Thank you.
Okay, next up is Susan Brendel.
Hi, thank you very much. I hope I'm one of those constituents that Deborah Glick alluded to. I always tell my husband, we don't have date night, we have community board night 5 nights a week. Anyway, we in NoHo, we were being hit so hard with so many changes. I've lived in my apartment on Great Jones Street for 30 years, and I step up to the plate. I'm a real participant in the community. I pay attention, and I advocate for myself and my neighbors. The intake center, nobody knew about it. I mean, a very, very small handful of people. And like everything, we learn about these things when the train has already left the station. And we are not, we are fine with the shelter on 3rd Street. It doesn't bother anyone. But, you know, people who come to be who come to intake centers, it's the first stop. They're desperate, they're homeless, they have no money, they have mental issues, they have drug issues, they have criminal issues. And I'm not trying to be melodramatic, but we know, even in our neighborhood now, we have people camped out who are drug addicts and so forth. And if this is happening, I just want to be assured that Community Board 2 has maybe a subcommittee that is tangential with homelessness or whatever in our community, that we can be in touch with. We can clock things as they happen and keep an eye on it and basically be heard and feel like issues will be dealt with in a timely fashion versus waiting till everything's gotten out of hand. So, and then I've heard there's going to be a task force, and I don't know who's
10
going to be on
seconds.
that task force, but I hope that we have an open, that we have a phone number and we can always have our voices heard as things come up. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's it for the non-agenda items. For the agenda items, Mark Dormuth? Or Marie Dormuth, I'm sorry. Is there a Marie Dormuth in here? Marie, yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Marie Dormuth. I am here strongly speaking in opposition to 277 Canal Street. I'm the former chair of the zoning committee on Board 2 for many years. I also have lived on Canal Street for 49 years. I figured that out before I came here. Canal Street, and the special Soho cast iron district is low rise. It's an artist, very important, famous. It's globally important, not only for the city. This building is a nightmare scenario. It's gigantic, it's monolithic. The design is preposterous. There's giant, weird arches on the top of the building. The developer is gaining. He's getting bonuses for improvement to the subway. He's getting bonuses for air rights, but he's actually building something that's going to throw a shadow on Soho, and it's going to destroy the beauty of a very special district. And I want to make clear that the Landmarks Commission can modify as of right structures. There was a lot of talk about that the other night, but that is incorrect.
20 seconds.
The Landmarks Commission can recommend lowering buildings if it's going to ruin a historic district. So please, I can't ask you strongly enough, view this application
Time
as
is up.
regards to Soho. And I don't worry about being told my time is up because this building is too important. It's egregious.
I understand we do have a hard out in this room, so we are trying to get through our business.
My hand is raised.
No.
Okay, next up,
I'm sorry,
Is
my
Pete
hand is
Davies?
raised.
Yes, Frederica?
Yes, could we just hear what agenda item this is in reference to?
277 Canal Street on Landmarks.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Landmarks 2, Frederica.
So how much time do we have?
2 minutes.
3 minutes, great. Okay, hi. My name is Pete Davies. I am also speaking about 277 Canal Street. That site was originally presented to CB2 in 2023, and it was approved by CB2 and the community and the Landmarks Preservation Commission to have additional floors put up and 25 units of affordable housing and 75 units of market rate. Now the developer has come back seeking additional bonuses that are granted due to zoning for accessibility and the Soho NoHo zoning, which ups the level of units in the building to 159 total. Out of those, 31 will be affordable. That's a gain of 6. But the market rate units go from 75 up 53 more units of market rate to the total. So now we have 159. The building is wildly out of proportion for the district. It will be the tallest building in Soho by about 50 feet. There's nothing like it. The Landmarks Preservation Commission does have the power to say, whoa, whoa, this is too big. So we're hoping that the board tonight will accept an adjustment to the draft resolution that was presented by the Landmarks Committee that just basically said approve, approve, approve. Rather, what we would prefer is, okay, we're in favor of the affordable housing. We're in favor of the accessible access.
Time is up.
We're in favor of a lot of this, but we are not in favor of approval of the size of the building. If we don't say that to the Landmarks Preservation Commission, they will never
Time
adjust this building.
Is up.
Uh,
That's
Thank
it,
you,
you're done.
Pete. Thank you, Pete.
Okay.
You need to call up the next speaker. Thank you.
Okay, the
Pete.
next speaker is Albert.
Question, sure.
Susan, you have a question?
Wait, you need to get a microphone.
Hi, Pete, thank you. You mentioned what the LPC has the rights to do, but I don't think we're all clear on that. Can you just elaborate a little to help us understand?
Yeah, the Landmarks Preservation Commission is tasked by law with preserving historic districts. And therefore, it's within the power of the landmarks commissioners when a project comes before them to say, we don't think that this building is, or this design is appropriate, is the words often used, or that it is contextual with the district, and therefore we're going to make adjustments. And in this case, the adjustments could be made in a way that do not diminish the number of affordable units. This is not about, oh, we're going to lose all these affordable units. Those can be preserved. And we have been hearing from Councilmember Marte's office that he is interested in maintaining and getting a better quotient of affordability out of this development. This is the first development post rezoning using all these new bonuses in Soho. And whatever happens here, this is a signal for historic districts throughout the city. If communities don't stand up and say, this is
Okay.
important to us,
Did you?
they will never listen to it.
Thank you. Anybody?
Thank you.
There any other questions? Okay. Albert LeBose, sorry. You have 2 minutes.
Well, I get to follow that.
There's a dial in the middle
Can you
that
hear
you
me?
can use to raise the microphone. There you go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Albert LeBose. I'm the owner and developer of 277 Canal Street. Now, when we got this, we were very excited in 2023 when we came before this board and to get our project approved, the first one for the Soho rezoning. And what this board has asked me to do is go back and try to get an elevator for this corner. Now, my office has been in Soho for 35 years. We own several corners on Canal Street, and anytime I deal with this community, they've always asked me, please, could we have an elevator in this particular location? Not handicap accessible. So we did pencils down, we worked with the MTA, and yes, we got a bonus, but that bonus is going to pay for the millions of dollars that we're going to be spending for bringing the elevator to this much needed area, for this much needed station. So we're not rapacious. This is what it is. This is how we justify paying for the elevator. It's very simple. Secondly, on Monday, we appeared before the Community Board Committee, and they asked us to look at the north-facing lot line. And
30
we're gonna go
seconds.
back. We're going to go back and redesign it. So I'm happy to answer any questions, by the way. And thank you for your time. Thank you.
Rocio, Susan, can you there's a microphone, right?
Would you please repeat how many millions of dollars you are spending to put that particular elevator?
It's going to be over $10 million.
Say it again?
Over $10 million.
Over $10 million.
Yeah.
That's very good. Thank you for doing that for the community.
Okay, next up, we have Susan B. Anthony. The name I have. And you'll have 2 minutes.
Everybody laughs when they hear that name. Okay. Thank you. All right, so my name is Susan B. Anthony. I have lived on Broome Street between Mercer and Green Street for almost 50 years. I'm here to oppose giving a liquor license to Francesco Cafe at 55 Green Street. Green Street is a narrow residential street, not a nightlife corridor. It is one of the few places in Soho that becomes quiet in the evening, and families who live there depend on that peace. A late-night liquor license combined with outdoor eating and drinking would bring noise, crowds, and activity onto a small residential block where people are walking home, children are nearby, and residents should feel comfortable passing through their own front doors. My concern is not personal. It is based on recent facts. In late May, I was walking my dog at 10:15 past Francesco's Cafe, and I heard loud music. I knocked on the door, and his partner told me that they were having a private party, and it would be over at 10:30. Francesco is supposed to have an SLA one-day license, but no one-day SLA license has been applied for since 2018. This private party was operating without a license. He also served wine last year without a permit. These incidents raise a reasonable concern about whether the conditions of a liquor license would be followed. There are other restaurants nearby, but most, like Balthazar, are in a commercial area. Antique Garage and Broome Street Bar have shown that restaurants can operate while respecting the rules and keeping noise under control. Francesco works well as a cafe serving coffee, tea, pastries, bread, and salads. I'm not asking the board to oppose the cafe.
5 seconds.
I am asking the board to protect the residential character of Green Street and not approve a liquor license that would change this place entirely.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
That's it. Thank
We're
you.
gonna pause the public session and we do have State Senator Brian Kavanaugh here. Thank you so much. Welcome, Senator.
Hi there. I know you've already heard from one legislator who, after a long time, has announced her departure from office, Deborah Glick tonight. But I also, as you may have heard, announced in February that I'm not running for reelection, so I will not be on the ballot on Tuesday. So I basically have now completed what is likely to be my last legislative session in Albany, but I will continue to serve through the end of the year, December 31st, and obviously my office, Sharif, who I don't know where he went. Sure, there he is. Okay. Sharif and my office are still fully engaged and doing the work. I did want to give you a few updates today, particularly on the legislative session that just ended. It was a bit of a rough one, as you may have heard. We did the budget only 8 days before the last scheduled day of session. It was a mixed bag. I think Deborah talked to you a little bit about some of the problematic changes we did in the CLCPA. On the upside of the environmental, as we did invest a great deal of money in electrifying buildings, in making a lot of things more sustainable. We spent a total of $1 billion in something called the Sustainable Future Fund, an additional $425 million through the Environmental Protection Fund, which is an all-time high. So there was a lot of effort to invest in the changes we need to do now, both for sustainability and affordability. And how, a lot of you know I chair the Housing Committee. We had a great success in extending and expanding the J51 program. This is a program that is the basic way that the city of New York subsidizes critical investment in multifamily property. That includes co-ops and condos, as well as multifamily rental property. Until the current version of the program, which expires this month, only allows the program to cover 70% of the total cost of the work. That we now change that so it can cover 100% of the cost of the work that comes to the building owners in the form of a reduction in taxes and abatement over a number of years. That is critical, particularly for meeting some of the requirements of city law, local law 97, and others that require buildings to make changes to make them more resilient. We also extended the program for 10 years. In the past, we've done it a few years at a time, which creates a great deal of uncertainty for people who want to use the program. And we included a provision that I wrote that dramatically reduces the fees for this program. The fees can be very large. We capped them and also made them so that property owners will be able to get them recouped as part of the project. And we dramatically increased co-ops that, in particular, that are eligible. The current version, only about 40% of co-ops in the city are eligible. It's based on their assessed value. We increased that pretty substantially, so most co-ops in the city will qualify for the program. And we did something we haven't done in the past, which was we indexed that number going forward. So it should remain the case that most co-ops in the city will be eligible for this program over the next 10 years. We also this is also a significant program for rent stabilized housing. Unfortunately, I had one provision that was intended to make it even easier for those to qualify that did not make it in the final deal, but it still should provide a significant investment for that. The other big thing that I've worked on for a very long time, and I think talked with you about here before, is increasing the SCREE and DRE and SHE and D programs. Deborah Glick, I don't know if she talked about this, but she has been the assembly sponsor of that effort for a long time. And in 2014, we increased the maximum income eligibility from those numbers for those programs from like 21,000 and 29,000 up to 50. And that seemed like a good step then, but it's been stuck at 50 since. So we've now moved that. We've made those programs available for any household income of $75,000. This is a very big increase and should have a lot more. These are programs that freeze people's contribution to their rent wherever it is, and make up the loss of revenue for the property owner with tax breaks. And they cut property taxes in half for eligible disabled heads of households and people, older adults. So again, those were significant achievements. We did those in the budget. We invested a lot of money in housing, hundreds of millions of dollars in supporting Mitchell-Lama and supporting public housing and many other programs that are intended to shore up the existing stock and continue our aggressive efforts to build new housing. We had a change in the State Environmental Quality Review Act that the governor had pushed that we ended up doing an agreement on that I think does allow that program to continue to protect key environmental issues, but should facilitate much more construction, particularly in our suburbs, which are, if we have a housing crisis in New York, it's partly because a lot of people want to live here and we have scarce housing here, but it's also because the suburbs around New York produce very, very little housing. So it's a metropolitan market. So we've done a lot of work on those things. Just one more thing I want to mention. This is a bill that has passed and is pending action by the governor, but we passed a bill that is intended to end the secrecy that federal law permits around ingredients in processed foods. You may have seen, thank you. Oddly, I was at a national food policy conference a couple of years ago and people kept talking about the GRAS loophole. GRAS is generally recognized as safe, and it is the law in New York. I mean, it's the law in America that if you want to make food and you want to put ingredients in the food and you want to determine inside your company with your own scientists behind closed doors that the new chemicals you want to put in food are generally recognized as safe, you can do that science. You can add the ingredients to the food and tell no regulator and not tell the public. So I, to be candid, was surprised that that's the state of the law, but it's gotten more attention now because RFK Jr. is talking about it. I'm actually, I'll refrain from commenting on that. But just to say, we passed a law in New York State. This bill would require food companies to disclose the ingredients and disclose the science that they believe demonstrates that they're safe. It would be close to our Department of Agriculture and Markets, and it would be available to the public and to all kinds of scientists that are food safety scientists who can review those assertions. The Center for Science in the Public Interest has said this would be the biggest food safety reform anywhere in America in decades. We are hoping the governor will sign it, but I think it is a big step forward. And it is New York protecting New Yorkers, even if the federal government is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So thank you. I think I know you have a long meeting, and I'm sure there's many other things I could chat with you about, but I'll take questions.
Rocio, can we get a microphone for Rocio and then Rich?
Thank you for coming today.
Nice to see you.
I wanted to express my concern of how the housing court is broken. And I don't see any effort on anyone to try to fix the problem. If a property owner starts a non-payment case, which is my case right now that I'm referring to, for a tenant that didn't pay rent for months, started the case back in August of 2025. My attorney was in court yesterday, and many delays were asked by the tenant. And we finally got a hearing for a court hearing on November of 2026. In the meantime, tenant has not paid rent for almost 2 years. My taxes have to be paid. My maintenance have to be paid. Everything has to be paid. They do not freeze the taxes, but they want to freeze the rents. So what can we do to fix the housing court that is in totally disarray and unfair, always unfair to property owners?
Okay, the issue of fairness, I cannot, as a legislator, tell judges what to do, and I think judges adjudicate cases as they see them. The issue of process, I think I agree with you that delays in housing court are problematic, and it has been a tradition that sort of tenant-side attorneys who they're representing tenants, and the tenants live in apartments, and when the case is resolved, there's a possibility the tenant will be removed. So there's sort of a tradition of tenant-side folks wanting delay. It's their job to aggressively represent their interests of their clients. But I think that it does not serve anybody well to have cases extend forever. We have a lot of programs in New York that are intended to pay the rent when someone really can't pay the rent, and it's a non-payment case. The government, especially in New York City, will step in and pay the rent. But if the case takes a year, the amount of rent that needs to be paid is often much higher. So the delays actually cost the taxpayers money. They are not endless disputes between landlords and tenants are not good. It is a very difficult problem to fix. I have proposed legislation that would create a separate, it's basically a part in the terms of the court to address, there's currently a part that's supposed to help small landlords, but it hasn't really worked terribly effectively. So creating a part where there's staff on board to help, city staff, in this case, to help figure out how to get people, if they're likely to end up getting a rent payment at the end of the case, to accelerate that and just get it and get that off the docket. It is a very big resource issue. The courts are glutted because there are so many cases and they don't have enough court space and they don't have enough judges and they don't have staff. So a lot of it is just resource allocation. But I agree with you, we should do more. I did propose legislation this year to do that, but it was a very busy session and it would require additional money in the budget, and we did not get additional money in the budget to do that. But I agree with you that that should be an ongoing.
What I didn't tell you is that this tenant gets the one-shot deals all the time, year after year. We have had 5 non-payment cases.
Refrain from specific.
It all depends who is speaking. And so this doesn't get resolved. All the resources that the city has, still the same problem.
Okay, I think it is. I think repeated one-shots. I think the one-shot program is generally very good for tenants and very good for property owners because it does pay the rent. I think repeated 5-6 time one-shot recipients are unusual, but I also agree that most circumstances that shouldn't be happening. But again, judges make decisions that judges make. I'm a separate branch of government. I don't get to tell judges, I don't get to tell judges how to adjudicate cases, but I do think you'd get better outcomes and quicker outcomes if we invested more in making the courts work more effectively. And I think that's a worthwhile thing to pursue.
Rich?
Yeah, hey, thank you for your time in office and your service and effort. Just curious, do you know who is likely to be named as your successor as chair of housing construction?
No, I thought you were going to ask the different question I can't answer, which is what's going to happen on Tuesday. There is an election on Tuesday.
Yeah, I didn't.
I can urge you all to vote. I cannot urge you how to vote. Right. The chairs of the committees are selected by the leadership of the Senate, Andre Stewart Cousins. They won't really make those decisions until later in the year because there will be elections and there may be a different group of senators in these seats. And so I've actually had a conversation with the leader about my thoughts on that, but it will not be my decision and I don't have any insight into who it's going to be.
That's what I figured. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions for Senator Kavanaugh? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
And thank you, board members, for your fruitful questions and keeping us on pace. Back to Donna.
Okay, back to the public session. Rhonda Shearer.
A little bit. There you go.
Thank you. I'm not short. Yeah. Okay. Hi. My name's Rhonda Roland Shearer. I live at 62 Green Street for 32 years. Francesco Soho Cafe is across the street. January 30, 2023, the State Liquor Authority revoked this applicant's permit, finding that, quote, lacks the rescuate character and fitness to hold a liquor license. Today is his second bite at the apple, where 5 months later, in June, he's denied another tavern wine beer license by the SLA committee. Thank you. I asked the full board and SLA to affirm it. At the June 2nd hearing, after I read the SLA denial finding allowed, the applicant's counsel told the committee, I'm glad the lady brought up the Campari because Francisco denied that to me. When I went to the liquor authority and said, please provide the photos, the investigator didn't have any photos of Campari, only Aperol. That was meant to discredit the investigator, but the finding never depended on a photograph. The SLA report states, quote, admitted that the manager admitted the premises uses Campari and Aperol for their cocktails. He has a tavern beer wine with bottles behind the counter in a plain view. Residents photographed that bottle 2 days before the undercover investigator visited. Now those photos are on record for the truth. The applicant didn't contest the authorities' findings through the proper channels. Instead, he and his counsel attacked the investigator in a public hearing permanently on YouTube where the investigator could not respond. Their contact, the Francesco and his attorney
10 seconds.
only confirms the authority was right about Mr. Pirello's character.
Thank you. That's the last public speaker I have and I don't believe there's anybody on Zoom. Okay, so that concludes public session.
Great, thank you so much. Now, did you ask if anyone wanted to speak?
Then come on up. I may have missed.
Hi, my name is Nancy English. I have lived on Great Jones Street since 1969. And at that time, there was another intake shelter. And I want to explain what it was like. It was a disaster for the neighborhood. There were hundreds of drug addicts, so bad that we had to have street patrols and tell people not to use drugs in our doorway. It was so dangerous that my husband had to escort me to my car when I came home or to work. At one time, 2 men got into a fight and they threw a brick through our window. Our friends and family would not come to the neighborhood because it was so dangerous. I hope this is not going to be the same situation with this homeless intake shelter. The Broadway Lafayette subway station was a drug hotel. We do not feel protected by what the city is doing. I'm also very concerned because 2 huge buildings are going to go up on Great Jones Street, and there will be sheds for years. And my experience in seeing these sheds are that the homeless hang out there, use drugs, use it as a toilet, use it as their sleeping space. So that again is going to make the neighborhood very dangerous. And I think that the community board must be aware of this because there's an equilibrium. Right now, there's a good equilibrium in the neighborhood among the homeless. And the neighborhood has flourished for years. If this balance is tipped, there's going to be big changes, but not to the positive. Thank you.
2 minutes, yeah. You have 2 minutes. Just state your name because I didn't see it online. That's okay.
Hi, my name is Andre Becker.
Wait, hang on 1 second. You have a second to prepare before your 2 minutes.
Hi, folks. This is good news. My name is Andre Becker. I'm with the Christopher Park Alliance. And if I didn't speak tonight, Susanna Aaron would shoot me, okay? So what I'm here to tell you about is a wonderful initiative we got going on. As you probably, or you might not know, this year marks the 10th anniversary of Stonewall National Monument. Yes, it's been 10 years that the National Monument's in place. And you might not be surprised to know that the federal government is doing nothing to celebrate. So what's happening? The community's gotten involved. We're doing our own celebration. So from June 20th until July 22nd, we have 27 local businesses throughout the village that are going to turn their storefront windows into a neighborhood-wide LGBTQ history exhibition. And so together, these posters create a self-guided walking tour that tells the story of the movement before, during, and after the Stonewall Rebellion. I had postcards out there. You can visit our site. It's stonewall10.nyc. What makes this especially meaningful is this is truly a community effort. It's the West Village Bid. It's the Christopher Park Alliance. It's all these stores coming together to celebrate it. And it's particularly important at this time because earlier this year, the National Park Service was forced to remove any reference of transgender people from the website for Stonewall. So it used to be LGBT, now it's just LGB. So the great thing about these posters, they were written actually originally for 2014 by David Carter, who is an authority, the Stonewall Authority. So they're historically accurate, and they tell an uncensored history of the rise for LGBTQ rights. So the goal here isn't politics, it's historical accuracy. So I just wanted to share this with you. It's great news. I've got postcards, I left them out there. Please enjoy, and I'm done. Thank you so much.
In the timeline. Thank you. Okay, I don't have anybody else. Is there anybody else from the public here to speak? I believe this concludes our public session.
Thank you so much. Now I'm going to look for a motion to adopt the agenda. So Susan Gammy and Keen Berger, thank you. And next we're going to go to reports from the public. So anyone who's here from an elected office representative, please come up to the front. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Monica. Hi.
Hi, everyone. Happy Pride Month. Go Knicks. I'm sad to start my report on this note. This is something Councilmember Wilson touched on, but we are really saddened by the passing of this 18-year-old in Central Park yesterday and the death of another horse last week. Councilmember Marte has reintroduced rider's law, and we're really optimistic that it's going to pass hopefully soon. It's going to be heard in July. It has the support of the speaker now. So, but it's been a sad time. The Animal Welfare Caucus, which Councilmember Epstein chairs, released a statement about the tragedy, if you're interested. And then onto lighter things. We are having a shredding event tomorrow with Assemblymember Grace Lee's team. It's going to be in Tompkins Square Park from 10 to 2 if you have documents that you want to get rid of. And our next hang with Harvey, where you can go voice your concerns to him, talk to him about anything you want, and he is going to be there from 9 to 11 next Thursday at Cooper Square. Next, I want to touch on the shelter on East 3rd, which I've been hearing a lot about. Today, the council member had a conversation with DSS, and we have urged them to come before all of the community boards prior to the month of August to be there to answer your questions, to hear your concerns, and for you to be able to raise everything that you've raised in this meeting to them directly. And we got a verbal agreement on the phone today, and I'm in the process. Hopefully, he'll reach out to Community Board 2, because clearly there's a lot of concern around the issue. So please be aware of that. Keep checking the CB2 calendar. It should happen before the month of August. Lastly, we had our DCWP hearing on Wednesday about consumer and worker protection and some of our bills. They were being discussed. I encourage all of you to check Legistar, which is the website where hearings are posted, see what's of interest to you, and you are welcome to attend any of the public hearings and see what laws are going to be passed, and it's really exciting. That is all, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, everybody. Nicole Barth from Senator Bottcher's office. I'll just say a couple of quick things. First, actually, I would like to congratulate Grace Fitzgerald, the new CB2 representative for Councilmember Wilson. I did it for 4 years and I absolutely adored it. And this is a great group of people. So congratulations. Very quickly, a couple of things that passed. As you heard from the other electeds, it was a very, very long budget, and there were a lot of things that that actually didn't get finished when it came to passing different legislation. But it was sponsored by Keith Powers in the Assembly and and Senator Bottcher in the Senate, the Affordable Housing for Artists legislation passed. And this bill addresses the legal barrier that has prevented New York City from building new artist housing for more than 2 decades. I'm going to make this quick. If you have any more questions about any of the legislation, I can send you more information from the office. I also wanted to say that Francisco's law passed. This legislation is about the safe storage of firearms in a household, and it has to do with when they are not in use by the owner. They have to be locked away, or there has to be a trigger lock, or there has to be somewhere where a person cannot reach them if they do not have a combination to a safe or a trigger lock. This is really, really big legislation, and named after Francisco, who was a young man. Unfortunately, took his own life with a firearm, and after a difficult time in school, and his mother firmly believes that had there not been access to a firearm, he would still be here today. I also wanted to let everybody know that the another important tenant protection bill that he sponsored has passed the Senate, but unfortunately didn't have enough time to go through the Assembly, which was fixing rent reduction delays. And if a landlord, this says if a landlord fails to provide essential services such as heat, hot water repairs, elevator service, et cetera, that tenants can file a complaint with the New York State Division of Housing and Community Renewal. It will start from the moment they reported and not from the time that DHCR is made aware. We still have our housing clinic. We also have our Scree and Dree clinic, which is going to be next Tuesday. We are very excited and wanted to thank Senator Kavanaugh for sponsoring the bill to raise the cap on the Scree and Dree bill. And I believe that's all I have for now.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Do any board members have any questions? Okay, thanks. Andrew.
Hi, Andrew here from the Manhattan Borough President's Office, Brad Hoyman Siegel. First off, congratulations to our new board members. We have 8 new board members for Manhattan Community Board 2. And I'll leave it to the chair and the district manager to announce who they are in their report. Secondly, Manhattan Borough President Brad Hoyman Siegel was at City Hall earlier today for the Knicks Championship Parade. He had a great time. And we did announce June 11th, 2026 as OG Anunoby Appreciation Day. He was the player who had won, tipped in the final shot during Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Earlier this week, our office wrote to Governor Hochul and Mayor Mamdani to urge the state and city to posthumously issue a pardon and apology to Eve Adams, a Polish Jewish immigrant arrested in 1926 and convicted for the crime of being a lesbian. And she was later deported and murdered in Auschwitz-Birkenau. Eve's story is one of the most unjust in New York City's history. 100 years after her arrest and subsequent murder by the Nazis, we have the obligation and the opportunity to say plainly that she deserved better. Also, Manhattan Borough President Brad Hoyman Siegel joined the governor, the mayor, and FIFA president Gianni Infantino to inaugurate a brand new soccer pitch at Tavern on the Green in Central Park. And also, for the World Cup final, New York City will be hosting a free watch party for up to 50,000 residents. So continue enjoying the World Cup matches at these venues or other venues throughout the borough, throughout New York City. See, a new announcement. We hired a first ever Manhattan director of borough organizing. So for our office, this person will be responsible for dealing with tenant issues. So many tenants don't know their rights, or that, they share a landlord. They may have a landlord with hundreds of issues and violations and whatnot. So our director of borough Director of Borough Organizing, will be on the ground in community centers, tenant association meetings, and apartment buildings, ensuring that tenants understand their protections, their rights, and their collective power to have those rights and protections enforced. We also launched an immigrant welcome center at our Northern Manhattan office at 431 West 125th Street. This immigrant welcome center will serve as a trusted walk-in resource for legal referrals, multilingual benefits navigation, know your rights materials, tenant protections, and more. And I guess last two things I want to quickly mention is that we released a neighborhood report card on dog waste. If you go to our website, we had analyzed comparative 311 data across the borough of Manhattan to see where the hotspots are in terms of complaints regarding dog waste. And this is the first in a series of various quality of life issues we'll focus on. So expect further neighborhood report cards focused on different quality of life issues coming up later this year. And then the last thing I want to mention is that we had our first ever Manhattan Borough Book Club a couple days ago with author Russell Shorto and Manhattan Borough historian Harold Holzer. We discussed the book called The Island at the Center of the World, the epic story of Dutch Manhattan and the forgotten colony that shaped America. And that's my report for this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Andrew from the Manhattan Borough President's Office? Okay, seeing none, thank you so much. Great. All right, so now we're going to go to the chair's report. Yes? Yes. Yes. Yes, Connor. Hi.
Hi, how are you all? Can you hear me okay?
Good. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand. I thought there were more people
That's all
before
right.
me. Yeah. Sorry I can't be there in person. Um, I hope everyone's having a good day, celebrating the Knicks. I'm sure we all are. Just a couple of updates. I know a couple people mentioned this already, but just to reiterate, the couple tragedies related to horse carriages this past week, and the horrible death of 18-year-old Romansh Mahajan. In recent years, the carriage horse industry has resulted in numerous incidents, now a human fatality. This practice obviously cannot continue, which is why Councilmember Marte reintroduced Rider's Law, which has been a long-standing bill to ban carriage horses for some time. And we're grateful that the speaker announced she'll be giving Rider's Law a hearing in July. And we'll be working with the administration and carriage drivers to pass the law while finding new jobs for these drivers. Last week, we also had our Ride and Rally event from Prospect Park to City Hall to advocate for our bills, granting city bike discounts for students and seniors. And that was a lot of fun. At the end of last month, we also co-hosted a walkthrough along Canal Street with several other local electeds, all the relevant city agencies and the mayor's office to discuss ongoing safety and vending issues along Canal Street, discussing existing conditions of unlicensed vending setups and the widespread sale of counterfeit goods. So we're hoping that that sort of comprehensive walkthrough can lead to some serious results and more comprehensive strategy against how to address these issues moving forward. And then lastly, I know that there's been some talk about 277 Canal Street. And, the council member just wanted to reiterate that he's been keeping a close eye on this project. He's met with the developer early this month. We know there have been a lot of serious changes between the first proposal and this proposal. The council member is grateful for the inclusion of an accessible subway entrance. However, we do not understand how a building can jump from 13 to 21 stories while the affordable housing percentage within the building actually drops from 25 to 21%. Making the MTA more accessible should not come at the expense of affordability, as well as contextual development. And the council member strongly urges the developers to utilize the zoning bonus they're receiving to maximize the number of affordable units provided through this project to at least retain the percentage that was originally proposed as part of the project. So as was mentioned by some community folks earlier, there's no reason that the affordability percentage should drop in this project. We're grateful for the added accessibility improvements, but with projects like these, it's setting the tone for Soho NoHo, and we have to make sure that not only is it contextual and respectful to the historic district, but provides deeply needed affordable housing. And that's all for me.
Hello. Great. Thank you so much, Connor. Any questions from board members for Connor from Councilmember Marte's office? Okay. Thank you, Connor. Appreciate
you.
it. Thanks. All right. So with that, I'm going to go to the chair's report. I didn't plan that, but it is timely. Maybe Chris arranged that for us. Thanks. All right, great. Welcome, everyone. And I have a few brief procedural and governance updates. First, I want to address quorum and committee operations. I just want to make sure, both for full board and committees, that everyone knows that in order to be, that quorum is achieved by in-person attendance. If you need a medical waiver or have a one-time extraordinary circumstance, you can fill out that form. It's on our website. You can reach out to our district manager and fill it out. It's just important for us to have quorum. And thank you for being here this evening. For members participating remotely, let's say you have a medical waiver filed or an extraordinary circumstance, which is a one-time form. If you have the medical waiver, you are allowed, you do count towards quorum. If you do not, if it's an extraordinary circumstance, you do not count towards quorum. However, if there's quorum achieved in the room or with someone with a medical waiver on file with the CB2 office, then you can vote once that quorum has been achieved. For members participating remotely, cameras should remain on throughout the meetings, full board committee meetings. Should you need to be on Zoom, the public must be able to see board members who are participating in discussions and decision-making. And so you will need to do that for the entire duration of the meeting in order to count as present and in order to vote. And that's at committees and at full board. In addition, each committee should be proactive with in helping out with Zoom and to help promote members on and off the Zoom in your committee meetings. As speaking of cameras, I also want to provide some guidance that we received from the Borough President's General Counsel on public meetings and the recording of public meetings by outside participants. Both our full board meetings and committee meetings are subject to the state's open meetings law. If someone wants to record our meeting, they have a right to do so as long as that does not interfere with us conducting business. We can direct someone with a camera, whether that is a phone or a standard broadcast camera, to a designated area in the meeting room as long as it does not interfere with us conducting our business. That being said, we were also advised that no one, board members or members of the public, have an implied right to privacy at a public meeting. So if you do not want to be recorded, you are free to leave. New York State is a one-party consent state for recording. So if you have any questions about that, please see me after the meeting. Second, after hearing feedback from both board members and members of the public, I want to reiterate that committee meetings will begin at 6:30 rather than at 5:30. I know that happens sometimes. That seems to throw people off, the public, people who work full-time, applicants. And so we are going to stick to that 6:30 p.m. Start time. And that's to better accommodate members who work as well as members of the public and encourage broader participation in our process. And third, I want to follow back up with this group, this body, regarding guidance that we received from the Borough President's General Counsel. I've said their name a lot this report, haven't I? They are really, really fantastic. John in Borough President Hoyleman Siegel's office is quite communicative and open. They do hold office hours for DMs and for chairs, which is fantastic. Regarding candidates for elected office who wish to speak during the public session, any member of the public may identify themselves as a candidate for a particular office. However, public session is not a campaign forum. And candidate may not use their time speaking as a campaign speech, endorsement, fundraising appeal, or other election-related advocacy, which is what electioneering is. And finally, some uplifting news that was really dense and dry for a short week and a very special holiday tomorrow. I'm pleased to announce the appointment of our newest board members. We have 8 of them. I believe 7 of them are with us this evening. So we could get some microphones going. I'd love to have them each introduce themselves. So if you're a new board member, if you could raise your hand and we will get a microphone to you.
Hi.
If you could stand up.
Oh. Hi, everyone. Kate Bostock Shefferman. I live on Jane Street, and I'm not sure what else.
That's great. That's great. That's great. We want to move it along. Thank you.
Hi, David Sandman, born and raised here in the district and live on 9th Street for 26 years now.
Wonderful.
Hi, I'm Rohit Balani, live on West 12th Street, and yes, you got that right. Balani, the same last 3 alphabets as the mayor Mamdani.
Very good. So that's 3, and then next. Oh, can we turn that on, Christopher?
Hi, Christopher Arroyo, student at NYU Law. I live like across the street at Hayden Hall.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Eileen Gribben. I live on Thompson Street.
Thank you.
Hi, Alec Puchnicki. I lived on Perry Street for 33 years.
Thank you. Welcome. And welcome back, I think, right? All right. And then on Zoom.
Hi, I'm Jill Hennekamp, 30-year resident of 10th Street.
Thank you. Welcome, Jill. We have one more.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Mona Sweeney Dixit. I live near West 4th, and I'm so excited to be part of the board this year.
Great. Thank you. Again, and a great thank you to Andrew, who is still with us here in the back. Thank you, and please send our thanks to Borough President Hoyleman Siegel and the rest of your team for this wonderful group of 8. 8 is great. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to our fearless and steadfast district manager, Mark Diller.
Hi, folks. In the theme of thanks, I forgot to thank John the last time, so let's doubly thank John. The reason you can see folks as well as hear them is John figured out a shortcut back. Anyway, it's just great having somebody who knows what they're doing, and that person is not me. Also, thanks to NYU. They're terrific hosts. I think Valentine is listening at home, assuming that. Anyway, but Arlene and Dorothy are also our hosts. We're grateful to all of them, as well as our security guards. So thanks very much. We pushed it a little bit last meeting, so I'm grateful that the security guards were so cooperative. We're very lucky. Tomorrow is Juneteenth, therefore the office, it's the city holiday, so the office will theoretically be closed. And so will every other city agency. Which means that we'll be getting some resolutions that you vote on tonight out tonight so that we meet our deadlines. We've already welcomed our new members. One thing I will add as a piece of business, just because, gosh, 18, 19 years ago when I was first appointed to a community board, I didn't know how to vote. And I assumed that abstaining was the safe process. But it turns out that abstaining is really a no. It's a soft no, but it's a no. So, because in order for a resolution to pass, the number of yes votes must exceed the sum of the no votes and the abstentions. Only the recusals are non-binding, right? Okay. Wherever that leaves you, but you are, you've been thrown into the deep end of the pool. Welcome. Okay. I was lucky enough to take a tour of the Red Door, which is one of several food insecurity places distributing food once a week here. It's part of the Church of the Village, or Church in the Village, 13th Street and 7th Avenue. And somebody I know from the Upper West Side, where I call home, is now also a part-time pastor there. And his church uptown is the home of the West Side Campaign Against Hunger. So there's a lot of expertise, and I stopped sharing. You may remember I shared a list of resources during the winter of places where people who are food insecure can find food. I foolishly stopped doing that when the weather got warmer, and there were over 300 people on that line yesterday. So I'll be doing that again. Why am I mentioning this to you? A, it'll be on our website, and I invite you to look at it. I invite you to look at it for two reasons, but the most important is there's no one place to go and find this information. So if there's anything on my list that isn't on my list that should be, please let me know. And if you know how to get in touch with them, even better. But even if you just know that on Thursdays, on whatever, I'd love to be in touch with these folks and build that list. So thanks for that. A quick congratulations to the 5th Precinct, who apparently made a huge number of arrests. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how many. Counterfeit goods have been a scourge of Broadway and Soho and Canal Street since I was in college. So they have a huge number of arrests, something like 16 vehicles, which is, I guess, that's their warehouse, is these cars that park here and there. Anyway, endless supply meeting endless demand, but they made a huge dent. So congratulations to the 5th Precinct. Please take a look at calendar updates as we go forward, because some of the meetings are going to change dates because of very good reasons. I won't lay them all out right now. On Monday, the Government Ops Committee of the City Council is once again taking up bills that would, one, impose a term limit on your district manager. 2, would empower the borough president to fire the district manager without your vote, which is currently required. And 3, would allow council members to appoint members directly without the borough president's office being involved. And if you've just been through the borough president's very intense and very careful process that was vetting all of our wonderful new members and looking at making sure that there was an inclusive process, and the borough president, as you know, brought in outside not-for-profits to help make sure that we were being as inclusive as possible, there's no guarantee that any of that good work would be replicated if it had to be done by 59 individual council members. So those bills are before the City Council on Monday. Gratitude to the Village Interagency Task Force and especially the District Attorney's Office for continuing that good work. That's part of why we have such progress in Washington Square Park, and we're trying to expand that. The area around Crosby Street and the Broadway Lafayette train station continue to be issues that we are trying to find resources to resolve. The budget included, this wasn't mentioned about the budget reports from Albany. The budget included an extension of the open meetings law for another 2 years. You may know that there were proposals to change what a quorum requirement is and so forth. None of that happened. All they did was extend the sunset provision of the open meetings law, allowing for virtual meetings for another 2 years. And with that, unless there are questions, that's my report. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. With that, we are going to go to the start of our business sessions. That means there will be no more testimony or anything from the public. To get that started, I'm going to turn it over to our secretary, Emma Smith, for roll call.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. All right, folks. From the top, Chris Arroyo, Rohit Balani, Will Banesh, Keen Berger, Carter Booth, Katie Bordenaro, you joined online? No, okay. Kate Bostock, Rich Cacapolo, Valerie De La Rosa, here. Chris Dignas, Manaswini Dixit,
Here.
thank you. Arturo Fernandez, Mara Fitzgerald, thank you. Stella Fitzgerald, okay. Cormac Flynn, Susan Gammy, Eileen Gribben, David Gruber, Jill Hannekamp,
Here.
Susan Kent, Ryder Kessler, oh, nope, still absent, sorry. Patricia Laria,
Here.
thanks, Patricia. Ed Ma, Mr. Ma, are you still online? Oh, there you are.
Hi,
I got you, Mr. Ma.
thank you.
Paul McDade, Erica Olson, Alex Pruchnicki, thank you. Donna Raftery,
Here.
Lois Rakoff, Sean Ryan, you arrived yet? No. David Sandman, Lucio Sands, Eddie Siegel, Frederica Siegel.
Here.
Thanks, Frederica. Emma Smith, present. Dr. Shirley Smith.
Present.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Chenault Spence.
Here.
Thank you, Chenault. Sean Sweeney, Susan Wittenberg, Anthony Wong. Perfect. We still have quorum. Thanks, folks.
Thank you so much. We're going to go to, well, we first need to get, do I have approval of the May full board minutes? Are there any proposed amendments or any changes? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve? Okay, I see Eddie with a first, second from Susan Kent. Thank you very much. And now we will go to resolutions from standing committees. Out of the executive committee on Tuesday, we have the following resolution. Resolution supporting continued funding for the K-8 Beacon After School Program at City as School. Therefore, be it resolved, Manhattan Community Board 2 supports the continued operation of the free K-8 Youth Beacon Youth After School Program at City as School, and urges the City of New York, the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development, elected officials, and other relevant agencies to identify and secure the funding necessary to maintain the program. And be it further resolved that Community Board 2 calls upon all relevant stakeholders to work collaboratively to ensure that children and families continue to have access to this essential community resource and that no interruption in services occurs due to funding shortfalls. The vote was unanimous with 8 executive committee members voting. So any discussion on this resolution? So any unwillingness to vote on this resolution as presented? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? All right, that passes. As we are about to, I'm going to turn it over to Donna Raftery for SLA licensing 1 and 2. So we're going to take those separately. This is for new board members, as our district manager, Mark Diller, alluded to. You are eligible to vote. We have 4 votes here in favor, against, an abstention, and then a recusal. Recusal is if you have a financial interest, would have a financial gain by voting on something. It'd be like a conflict of interest. And that's with that, we will take all of these, as you see in your packets. Maybe have it on a digital device. We will read through all of them, and then we will see if there's any that want to be called out to be discussed, and then otherwise we'll take the rest in a omnibus at the end, at the end of the report. Donna.
Okay, and then for the new board members, just so you know, if you read through these, we'll recommend denial of a license, or we may recommend deny unless with stipulations. So that means that if the stipulations are not included, then our recommendation becomes a denial, but with those stipulations, it's really a recommendation to approve. So that may sound confusing, but that's what those mean. And I just want to welcome Kate Bostock-Shefferman as a new committee member this month to SLA 1. So welcome, Kate. She was a public member, and thank you, Valerie, for getting her appointed so we could have her on the committee. this month. And just a little note, SLA2 is meeting on Wednesday, July 8th. We always meet on Thursday, so this is unusual. And I kept announcing we will not be meeting at Northwell. We will be meeting at Northwell. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, Northwell. So just wanted to correct that. Okay. So SLA 1 for June met on June 2nd. We had 22 applications and heard 13 of them, and all the votes were unanimous. Luxor Lounge Inc., 1118 McDougal Street. This is a corporate change, deny unless with stipulations. Strand Bookstore Inc. at 828 Broadway. This is a wine and beer catering establishment, previously unlicensed. It's deny unless with stipulations. Crosby Street Hotel LLC at 79 Crosby Street.
Could you say the number?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks.
Number 3, Crosby Street Hotel LLC, 79 Crosby Street. This was an alteration, deny unless with stipulations. Number 4, Chomram Y Forever LLC, doing business as Solea at 140 West 4th Street Basement. This is a wine, beer, and cider for a restaurant. Deny unless with stipulations. 320 West Broadway, number 5, 320 West Broadway Diner Corp., doing business as Soho Diner at 320 West Broadway. This is a change in method of operation and an alteration, deny unless with stipulations. J Beatery LLC, this is number 6, J Beatery LLC, 51 West 8th Street. So wine, beer, and cider for a restaurant, a previously unlicensed location, deny unless with stipulations. Number 7, World is a Quiche LLC, doing business as Hags at 334 Bowery. This is an on-premise for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. Number 8, 181 Thompson Restaurant LLC and Major Management TCZ LLC as manager, doing business at Carbone at 181 Thompson Street. This was an alteration. This was denied unanimous. 470 Broom Cafe LLC, doing business as Francesco at 55.5 Green Street, also known as 470 Broom. This was a new beer and cider for a restaurant, previously unlicensed sort of location. They had their temporary. So, and that was a denial. Le Petit Nissa Corp., doing business as Le Petit Nissa at 373 Broome, on premise for a restaurant, previously unlicensed. This was a deny unless with stipulations. GF 240 Mulberry LLC at 240 Mulberry Street, number 11. That's the North Store. On premise for a bar, it's a class change. That was a deny. 4 Vinnie's LLC, doing business as Vincent's, 119 Mott Street, number 12, on premise for a restaurant, a deny unless with stipulations. Number 13, Jam Associates, New York LLC at 206 Thompson Street, on premise for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. Items 14 to 22 are layovers or withdrawals.
Thank you so much, Donna. Are there any particular resolutions that board members would like to call out for discussion? If so, please raise your hand. Can we get a microphone for Rocio, please? Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to call out number 9.
Okay.
And also number 11.
Okay. Any others that others want to call out? Okay, so let's hold those. Let's now take a vote on items 1 through 8, and then 10 through 13.
10, 12, and 13. She called out 11 also.
Oh, okay. So but she's only calling out number 9 and number 11, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so then we're voting on 1 through 8, 10, 12, and 13. Is there any unwillingness?
And 14 to 22.
And thank you. And 14 through 22, which are layovers or withdrawals. So with that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Thank you very much. Let's go to number 9 on SLA 1. Would you like to?
So number 9, we had comments from the audience saying that this is a bad operator. It's Francesco, number 9, 470 Broom Cafe, DBA Francesco. Is Francesco a good operator or a bad operator? That I don't know. But what disturbs me about this
resolution is that CB2 Manhattan forces applicants to enter into stipulations, barring the applicants from changing the stipulations. And then if they decide to go back and request something different, something changed, they are refusing, and the stipulation is all over saying, oh, but you promised, you said, you stipulated that you were not going to do this or that, but yet they get penalized regardless. So I'm voting the way, I'm voting against this line. I'm voting with the committee, but I just want to bring that up to everyone so that they realize that when you force people to accept certain stipulations, and then you say, oh, well, you can come back. But when they come back, you throw it in their face. Oh, but you promised you weren't going to do that. Now you want to do it. So it's not fair. Just my comment. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion on number 9 for SLA 1? Okay. We'll take. Okay. Is there any unwillingness to vote on number 9? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Thank you very much. Now we'll go to agenda item number 11. Rocio, I assume you have something
yeah.
you'd like to say?
I had some questions regarding this, and I'm voting the way the committee voted, and I'm fine with that. But was there any other discussion that we could have about what's happening with this particular application?
Well, I think there's not really a discussion. We heard there were a lot of complaints about noise going on there, and the applicant did not want to lay it over to try to see what they could work out with the community, and the committee felt uncomfortable letting them have a class change, knowing that there are complaints going on with the premises downstairs. We heard from multiple people that there were problems, so it just seems like it had the potential of just adding on more problems without, and they were given the opportunity to lay it over and show that they could, just at least talk to these people and work it out, and they didn't want to do that, so that's why.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, great. Is there any other discussion on SLA item number 11, SLA 1? All right. Is there any unwillingness to vote on this resolution? This is number 11 on SLA 1. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Thank you very much. Let's go to SLA 2.
Okay, SLA 2 met on June 4th. We had 13 applications and 8 resolutions. All the decisions were unanimous. I will try to remember to do the numbers here. So number 1, 340 Bleecker CNS LLC, formerly known as entity to be formed by Catch Hospitality Group LLC at 342 Bleecker Street. It's an on-premise for a restaurant, deny unless with stipulations. Number 2, the Lorient New York City LLC, doing business as the Lorient, 72 Grove Street, on-premise for a restaurant, previously unlicensed location, deny unless with stipulations. Lume West Village LLC, doing business as Lume West Village at 259 West 4th Street. This is a change of method of operation, was a denial. Number 4, 4T USA Inc., doing business as Migarba, 310 Bleecker Street. This was an alteration. I do need to make one correction in this one. It was on item 7, the 4th line, where it says, including the West Village Residents Association and the Bedford Borough Commerce Block Association. It should not say the Bedford Borough Commerce Block Association, so it would just read, including the West Village Residents Association, comma, had met with, and then continue on. And that was a denial. Number 5, 20 Fonte LLC, doing business as Fonte's Bodega at 20 Christopher Street. It's a wine beer site-in for a tavern, previously unlicensed location. This was a denial. 6, Remy Midtown LLC, doing business as Cheers Union Square at 35 East 13th Street, also known as 119, 121 University Place. This is an on-premise for a bar tavern. This was a denial. Number 7, Cafe Gallery LLC, doing business as the Art Bar, formerly known as the Gallery Cafe at 168 Thompson Street in the Cellar. Wine beer cider for a tavern, previously unlicensed location, deny unless with stipulations. And number 8 was 51 Merchants LLC, doing businesses via Kuroda, 51 Grove Street, an alteration to add their roadway. The appearance was waived, and that was deny unless with stipulations. Items 9 through 13 were layovers or withdrawals. That's it.
Cormac, can we get a microphone for Cormac and for Rocio, please? Thank you. And Lois next. So can we get that to Cormac, please?
Rocio, can you just pass it?
Can you
back to
pass the
Cormac?
mic to Cormac? I'm calling on Cormac and then I'll call on you and then Lois. Could you pass the mic to Cormac? Thank you.
Donna, I just wanted to clarify on item 7. You said it was a deny unless. The text says it's a denial. I just wanted to check. On item number 7,
Yeah.
which is the art bar.
Yes, that's
It's-
a denial. It is a
It is
denial.
a denial, yes. I just, because you,
Deny unless.
it's a deny unless. The
Okay.
text says denial, so I just,
So
I'm sorry I didn't catch that in drafts. I just wanted to
Fix that.
let you
It
know.
is a
Okay.
deny unless. That
Thank
was
you.
a unanimous deny unless we have the stipulations. They came in at the last minute, so.
I'm
thank you
sorry I
for
didn't
pointing
catch
that.
that.
No,
in-
thank you for pointing that
Okay.
out.
All right, so we'll. Okay, great. Lois.
I'm also calling out
Oh,
number
well, it's
7.
supposed to be Rocio.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd like to call out number 3, please. Um, And number 8.
Thank you. Lois, would you like to call something out besides number 3 and number 8?
I want to call out number 7.
Okay.
Do I have to say why right now?
No. Okay, so with that, we have 3, 7, and 8 there that are being called out being called out. So we'll take the other ones and vote on them. So that's number 1, 2, number 4 through 6. Then the 9 through 13 is layovers and withdrawals. So if there's any unwillingness to vote on those, yes, Mark? Well, could you get her a microphone, please?
Number 6.
Okay, so you'd like to call out number 6. So let me take back what I just said and I'll say it one more time. So we are now going to call out on SLA2 number 3, number 6, number 7, and number 8. And now we will take the others as an omnibus and vote on them. So now we will be voting on 1, 2, 4, 5, 9 through 13. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Could you get a microphone? You didn't see a hand raised, so I couldn't call on you.
It's no on 5.
Thank you. Okay, so with that, we'll go to number 3 for discussion. SLA2 number 3. Does anyone like to speak about it? Please raise your hand. Okay, Rocio?
Yes, I had a question regarding number 3. It seems that the problem is the venting system. I can't believe that they couldn't get this straight. Why wouldn't they fix this problem?
I can't answer that question.
But what did they say? I was curious because
They
it's a common thing.
Exactly. And when it's not fixed, it's an ongoing problem for the residents there when it's not fixed. They are in a process of fixing it. So we just told them basically, once it's fixed, come back is what we said.
So they will be able to come back and.
Oh, yeah, they can. We just need to.
Great, thank
have
you.
it.
Okay, great. Any other discussion on number 3? Any unwillingness to vote on number 3? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? All right, now we will go to number 6. Would anyone like to discuss number 6 on SLA2? Please raise your hand. This one was called out, so if you'd like to speak about this, we called it out because people wanted discussion. Please raise your hand. Thank you. Mar?
This is a long time nightlife establishment in the district, and I feel like it's been operating this way for a really long time. I understand the neighbors' concerns, but I also understand there was considerable outreach, and I wonder if when we have an application like this, if there is a path forward. And I don't see that really any conversations were had. If there were, it was not reflected in the resolution to give these operators a path forward. I don't know if not being experienced is really a good enough reason to deny. So it just gave me more questions than answers. So I'm going to vote no. That's all.
I think that the resolution points out that there's a lot of complaints about the way they have been operating, the people that are the current applicants. Their application was originally denied at the Liquor Authority, and there's not much of a change in their operation other than removing the speakers from the rooftop and cutting back the hours 1 or 2 nights from what was denied a few months ago. So it's not the inexperience, it's the inability to contain the noise and control the disorderly premises that is going on the exterior of the establishment currently.
Great. Is there any other further discussion on number 6? Is there anyone willing to vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Chris, I've got you, and Mara, I've got you. Anyone I missed? Okay.
Abstentions, recusals. Great. We're moving on to number 7. If you'd like to speak about number 7, please raise your hand, Lois.
Is it on? Yeah. Okay. Basically, curious, Donna, why this application wasn't heard in SLA 1, because certainly that is in the BAMRA area, Bleecker Area Merchant Resident Association area, where I live. Number 2, I was curious why they're going to coordinate with West 8th Street with garbage when it's on when it's on Thompson Street. And number 3,
May be a
the
mistake.
question is, what was the community outreach?
So, okay, number 1,
Yeah.
that's just where I put it. So, and I think if you, look at number SLA 1, it didn't need any more applications.
Okay.
So I think I had a few from Thompson Street, honestly, when I did the split that went on to SLA 2 that normally
Yeah.
wouldn't be there. And I think then I moved and I didn't catch this one. So
Okay.
that's why. The 8th Street thing, it was a pickup that needs to come off of there. It has nothing to do with
Okay,
that. That's
that makes
just
no
an
sense.
honest
Yes.
mistake. So that's that. What was your last
And the
question?
community outreach.
There wasn't. a bunch of community
Basically,
outreach. It's
that area looks at those streets, look at SLA 1, and it's very possible, including myself, did not look at SLA 2 because that's definitely in SLA 1 area.
So I would also just say that flyers were posted and
Yeah.
everybody who's interested should always look at all of our committee.
Okay, because I didn't see
Yeah.
it posted. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. It's wine and beer with reasonable hours, so just,
This is number 7.
yes.
Okay.
So
All right. Is any unwillingness to vote? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, recusals? Great. Now for number 8 on SLA 2, if you'd like to speak about number 8, Rocio?
Let me be clear. I will vote in favor of this application, but I have some comments to make. CB2 is being biased, not using the same standards to base a decision whether to approve or to deny an application. I want you to look at, please refer to the number Two Little Eyes, I think it's after number 3, perhaps. Whereas Sullivan Street, I think that's probably a mistake. I think it should be Grove Street, or I'm not sure. That's the first thing. And then the second thing that I wanted to discuss is the Two Little Eyes, whereas the FDNY waiver to the 15-foot emergency lanes requirement of New York City DOT's dining out New York City rules waives creating serious life safety concerns for the impacted residents. So we heard, CB2 heard from numerous block associations that are adamantly opposed to any road shed dining seating, which requires an FDNY waiver. But yet this one gets approved. Now, regardless of whereas the vote is to approve the application, CB2 chooses which ones to deny and which ones to oppose. Where is the consistency, the contradictions? Why some are approved while others are denied? Now, for the same grounds, the president of the Chambers Street Block Association came before us in this very room and decided that 2 applications that happen to belong to me should be denied on this particular issue. But I don't see him standing up and crying about that for this application, and I wonder why. So just think about that. When it's really for the detriment of the people, we have to be standard. We have to have a standard and vote the same way for everyone. Everyone should be the same, equal under the law, equal under our view of what we should apply for, or what we should approve and what we should deny. And I just want you all to think about that. Thank you.
I'm just going to answer that in terms of the SLA committee. The SLA committee has been consistent that we haven't opposed any roadway application due to the FDNY waiver. Put that language in there all the time because it is a concern to us and it is a concern to many of the block associations, but the SLA committee has not denied any of the roadway cafes due to an FDNY waiver. You can go back and read the past resolutions that language is in there to acknowledge the concern that many block associations have about this, but the committee has not voted to deny because of that on any of them.
My 2 applications were denied for both my restaurants on the same issue.
You can go back and read the resolutions on those. I think there were other reasons other than the FDNY waiver. That was not the reason the SLA committee denied them.
Okay, so is there any other discussion? Is there any unwillingness to vote on number 8 on SLA 2? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Thank you. Great. Next, we will go to landmarks 1 and 2. Chenault Spence, the landmarks chair, will give the report.
Okay, the first meeting was substantial. We did not have a quorum, and the resolutions offered are the unanimous opinion of those who were there. First one, 533 Broadway, is to be reviewed by the staff. 287 Bleecker Street is laid over. 134 Sullivan Street was withdrawn. 529 Broadway, to replace one bay of ground floor storefront on the Spring Street side of the building, reconfigure the existing freight entrance and glass storefront into revised freight entrance and an entry for office tenants to the upper floors of the building. Recommend that the revolving doors be denied and the entrance door be a single double conventional hinge door, and that the entire assembly be further recessed so that the doors swing within the property line facing the busy narrow sidewalk. the freight doors be in plain metal rather than busily patterned cast stone surface, and be similarly recessed so that the open position is within the property line. That the canopy with discreetly lit lettering be approved. Number 5, 44 McDougal Street. Restore the front facade to the original condition, install new windows and entry doors, demolish portions of the existing second floor structure, construct a rear addition at the third floor, construct a new fourth floor addition, and partially excavate the cellar for a new elevator pit. Approval of the front facade provided that a greater distinction is made between the adjacent houses with a distinctive cornice above ground floor, and that the ground floor is painted in a different color, and approval of the unified rear facade, the patio, and the barely visible penthouse. 80 Horatio Street. These conclusions will seem a little strange to those who are familiar with row houses. It's an unusual situation of a 25-foot wide tenement building is being converted to a single-family house, and it is essentially making it into a row house using appropriate windows and doors for a row house, but not for such a substantial building or such a wide building. Approval of converting the ground floor to a residential entry with windows, restoration of the upper floors provided that the lower height doorway and small repetitive identical windows are modified to improve the overall appearance and to better enhance the width and height of the front facade with possible variations of window heights and the addition of a cornice above the first floor. Denial of the lighting fixture and ironwork, and that they be in the style and design suitable to the period. Approval of the bluestone sidewalk and the enlargement of the tree pit. Approval of the masonry reconstruction of the rear facade and the upper floor punched windows and the cornice. Denial of the rear facade windows at the basement, parlor, and second floor levels, and that there be a clear separation between the parlor and second floor levels, and that other elements to break up the overwhelming three-story window appearance. Approval of the bulkhead if it is reduced in bulk to the maximum extent possible, including ceiling height, is minimal according to code. Approval of the patio provided the excavation leaves a minimum of 5-foot buffer at the rear property line. Approval of the excavation provided that the diligent care is taken to ensure the integrity of the property and the adjacent properties, and that all applicable regulations are followed. That's it.
Okay, great. Are there any that members would like to call out? Otherwise, we will vote on them in an omnibus. We'll do landmarks 1 and then we'll go to landmarks 2 in just a moment. So is there any of these items that anyone would like to call out for discussion? Otherwise, we will take them as is. Is there any unwillingness to vote on landmarks 1, agenda items 1 through 6? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? All right, let's go to landmarks. Oh, okay, Emma, excuse me.
I'll be abstaining from 6.
Abstaining from number 6. Thank you. All right, so with that, let's go to landmarks 2. Chenault?
Okay, I suggest we do the first 2 and then leave the second one separate.
So are you
the
saying
third one
you
separately.
well, why don't you present them and then we'll call them out
Okay.
separately?
145 Grand Street to remove the front exterior fire escape. Recommend approval of the application provided that all fire department and DOB regulations are met and that the fire escapes are not removed until after the sprinkling system is certified and operational. 151 Grand Street. This is a complicated technical thing. What it means is there was an approved application prior to COVID. The work was never done, and therefore the approval expired, and they've come back simply to ask renewal of a previous one that we recommended approval apart from the not the visible, just the design of the penthouse. And that has been somewhat modified and had been approved by the commission. Recommend approval of the application provided that the commission can confirm that the paint color approved will be a dark green and not read as simply black. There was dispute about the rendering versus what the actual color was to be. 277 Canal Street, application to create an accessible entrance to the NQRW Canal Street subway station and to restore and vertically enlarge the existing 3-story commercial building. Either before or after I read these, I'd like to clarify things that were said that are not clear earlier in the meeting, whenever you think that should be done.
Probably during the discussion.
Okay. Approval of the restoration of the ground floor, provided that the proposal for signage be simplified in a way suitable to the building, rather than making the cluttered signage elsewhere on Canal Street. Approval of moving the stairway entrance and of incorporating much needed ADA accessibility features into the station design. Approve the street facade of the tower, provided that the design reflects a closer relationship to the neighborhood character, especially to relieve the building's flatness and repetition, with suggestions of setback, depth of detailing, articulation, less rigid arches, and other steps to mitigate the height as accentuated by the arches to make the top floor a more distinctive crown. Approval of the north lot line and the prior versions did not include the east facade, which is part of this. So it's include the north lot line and east side walls, provided that it present a less back wall appearance to the Soho, with modification of the arches to give depth and detailing and a generous number of windows.
Okay. Are there
Okay,
any?
is now the time?
No, we need to call these out. So is there any
Oh.
that people would like to call out? Okay, Susan Gammy, can we get a microphone? I know, but then it ends up, I know it's annoying. You-
Oh, there. 277 Canal, I would like to propose an amendment to that when we get into our discussion.
So you'd like to call it out is basically, all I'm asking is if you want to call it out.
Yes.
Okay, so we're calling out number 3. Does anyone want to call out number 1 or number 2? Otherwise, we'll take a vote on those and then we'll go to number 3, just trying to move this along and not stifle debate, but to get to what we actually want to talk about. All right, so if there's no unwillingness to vote on landmarks 2, number 1 and number 2, then we will take that vote now. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Recusals? Great, so that's number 1 and 2. Now we will go to number 3 for discussion, which is 277 Canal Street.
Okay, may I, this is going to inform the discussion, I think, what I have to say.
Okay, would you like to go?
Yes.
Else? Okay.
It's the question of the bonus. There are two separate and unconnected bonuses. The first one is the Soho zoning, with which everyone's familiar, and that provides for a certain number of a certain bulk, and it's, if you will, paid for by including the affordable housing apartments. There is a separate and unrelated bonus provided for subway improvements, and that is added volume, and the payment for that is the subway work that the applicant outlined before of providing accessible entrance. And it's a interrelated, but the Transportation Department approves and certifies this work as worthy of the bonus, and then the bonus is awarded.
Okay, so any other, Susan, you had your hand up?
Yeah, this is very tricky because it is obviously a very, very tall building. It was a tall building that was approved in 23. There's the addition of 8 stories now, which obviously makes it an even taller building. And there's tremendous concern given its position in the historic district. We have not seen, although LPC does have the right to say a building is out of scale, this is not something we've actually seen them do. We haven't seen them exercise this right. We've seen them mitigate the appearance visually in certain ways, but not to actually reduce the building. Having said that, I don't think we should be deciding for them not to do this, particularly when there's so much concern about the height in the community. Sean Sweeney has been circulating another resolution, or perhaps an extension, a lot of amendments. I'm not sure what the form of this is, but what I would like to do is to propose an amendment which would incorporate the final whereas and therefore of what Sean is circulating to what we currently have in front of this. And so what I would specifically like to suggest as an amendment is that we add a whereas M stating, whereas the building would be the tallest in the historic district, LPC does not have to give the maximum bulk and height requested, and it does have the right and obligation to say if a building is out of context and out of scale with its historic district. So I propose that, stolen from Sean Sweeney, as whereas M, and then I propose amending therefore C to say C recommends that LPC closely examine this building in the context of the cast iron historic district and make an appropriate decision regarding its final height, and further recommends that the street facades of the tower reflect a closer relationship to the neighborhood character, and then continues as whereas C is already drafted in the resolution presented.
Okay, so you're proposing to add the last whereas from this item that's being circulated?
Yeah, with the language massaged a little bit.
Okay, and then you're proposing adding the therefore be it resolved. I don't understand the C or
I'm
adding it to C. Oh,
adding
okay, okay.
what Sean has here as his
To the C, therefore be it
therefore
resolved.
to the C, because it tucks in well there with a little language massage.
Okay, so do we have a second for this amendment?
Madam Chair,
Second. Yes?
just know that my hand is raised, but I don't mean to
Okay. Oh,
interrupt.
yes. Okay, well, now we have this. It's, Susan Gammy made a motion and Carter Booth seconded it. Dr. Smith, I see your hand up, so let's,
Yes. Is there some way that I can see what, what Sean Sweeney has given out to the board? Is there a way to see a copy
can
of
someone
that?
get that to? Okay.
Susan, what you just read out, if you give it to me, I'll finish the typing real quick and I can project it for the group. Does that work?
She just needs a copy of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me write it legibly.
Okay.
Okay. Or you can come whisper.
Okay,
it
so
over.
Thank you.
David,
I
can we
have
get
a
David a
copy.
microphone?
I have
Can
a
we get
copy. I
David a
can send
microphone?
to-
Okay, but just one second. I'm calling on David. David, can we get David a microphone, please? Right here. It's right here. It's right here. Thanks.
I I want to concur with the spirit of Susan Gammy's remarks. Landmarks Preservation Commission has one role, essentially look at landmark districts. If it's not in a landmark district, they do not have a role. Within that context, they're here to see if new construction, rehab construction, anything else falls into an appropriate context for a landmark district. So here we have a situation where, and I agree with Susan that it's rare that they deny it, but this 1.94 additional FAR, which is going to generate like $70 million. And I'm sorry that the developer took off so quickly before I had a chance to quiz him on it politely. But I'm glad that the elevator, he knew the numbers for the elevator were 10 million, but it's going to generate another $70 million in income. I'm not concerned about income, nor is LPC concerned about income. What we are concerned about is their role, which supersedes bonuses and zoning, to make a determination whether something is proper in a landmark district. I am strongly in favor of this, and I will support Susan Gammy's new resolution unless Sean has something else he
So
wants
to be
add.
clear, it's an amendment.
Sean, do you have
an
something else you want
amendment.
to add to this?
Well, so it's okay, David. If someone would like to speak, they can raise their hand and I'll call on them.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. You know, you've been up here a time or two, I heard. Okay, is there any other, Carter? Can we get a microphone to Carter? Thank you.
Yeah, I really want to thank Susan for her amendment because it really captures better what the committee was saying at the committee meeting. And that is that it's up to landmarks. They have the power to do this. We're just asking them to look at their full discretionary decision-making on this. And if you watch any of the landmarks hearings, they talk about this as well. So it's really up to them if they want to exercise the discretion of limiting the height. And I think that David's right. You know, the developer, they're allowed to build. They have the full, allowance that was discussed at the committee meeting. The majority of the committee agreed with that. And I really like the way that Susan presented it because it actually balances the two sides in a better way of putting the burden of that decision making on whether the contextual basis of that large of a building is appropriate for Soho. And that's the challenge that we felt in this presentation. And I think there's a lot of compelling arguments that LPC will eventually review, but a lot of the comments about the building itself, I think, are very important, but the height, it's basically, how many stories does it go? So I think it's a very nice way of threading through the issues. And I also wanted to point out that this board asked the developer to include the transit accessibility. It was not a decision, and they went back and revisited that. And if you go to Canal Street, and I lived on Canal Street for a short period of time, is very narrow sidewalks. And so putting in accessibility, and I lived right in front of one of the elevators that was on the sidewalk, and there's like 5 or 6 feet that the entire population of the north side of Canal Street would walk through, which means you couldn't even exit, or I couldn't even exit my building at sometimes for a couple of minutes as people were walking through on the weekends. So encouraging developers when they're doing this development to do this type of accessibility requirements in the building is really a benefit for all of us. I don't know if all the extra stories are required, but let's just keep in mind, we asked him to revisit his plans. And so he went and did it. And also the rezoning happened, and there's a lot of other access in there. So I think that Susan's approach to this is a very good one.
Any further discussion? Sean?
Yeah, I just want to say why I introduced this, because at the committee meeting, it was kind of glossed over how big the height was. And I was told that landmarks can do nothing because, well, it's the law, and he can get his 1.94 FAR additional, which equals 34,000 square feet. And there's nothing we could do about it. But I was saying, well, landmarks can reduce it if they want. And I was ignored. So I wrote this, and I gave the numbers here. The guy will be making at 2,000 a square foot in Soho for 2,100 is the average price. At 34,000 square feet is $70 million. The elevator, as Rocio mentioned, costs 10. He's making $60 million. He gives a mitzvah and he gets $60 million back. That's not charity. That's not helping anyone. So that's why I wrote this.
Great, thank you. And just to quickly clarify that the only thing that has been introduced, while you may have distributed this, technically this, the landmarks resolution number 3 is what has been introduced and is on the floor with now the amendments that have been presented and seconded. So we will need to take a vote on the amendment and then vote on the actual resolution. So just wanted to clarify that's what's been introduced. Chenault and then Arturo.
I favor very much this amendment. I think it says it covers all the sides that are to be considered and leaves it essentially to the commission for the very difficult task of balancing between the amenities and the height of the building.
Okay, great. Arturo?
Yeah, and I'd like to add, at the landmarks meeting, we did have a very fruitful discussion, and there was consensus that height may not be the thing that we wanted to bring up necessarily. So it's a little surprising that we're bringing it up now. Nonetheless, I think that some of the things that people have the most disagreement, which is the transit bonus not including MIH, the transit bonus applying to the air rights from the adjacent lot, even though it's not being developed. These are a lot of land use issues. So I think I'll just say strategically in thinking about the letter of the law and how landmarks is going to look at this, they may ignore it. And I think a good place to bring up these dissatisfactions with how land use and zoning is written is through land use. And to my knowledge, this application will have to go to land use. So I just want to bring that up. But we did have a good discussion and we did try to balance many perspectives.
Can we get a microphone to, you need a microphone in order to speak.
Hi, I'm a new member here, so some of the stuff I'm saying might be widely inappropriate, but it won't stop me anyway because I got to learn somehow. I by Zoom I attended that meeting. My name doesn't appear on the attendance list. I don't know if Zoom screwed up or if I screwed up.
Oh, you'll just need to tell.
In any case, I'm here now and I listened to the entire discussion. The Now, I'm not sure how the proposed amendment modifies the original proposal. Could you verify the wording of the proposed amendment just before I comment?
So, no, it's
No.
actually, they're trying to get it on to be able to put it on
okay.
screen, so
Well,
I cannot do that. So
Well, then
once
let me
that's
make,
available.
let me make my comment that
Sure.
that they could put this in. First of all, 20 stories of this particular type of building is by itself inappropriate for the district. The tallest building, et cetera, all the things that have been made up, but that have been said. However, first of all, the building that is there right now is a 3-story bright red building with very garish lettering that is probably more inappropriate for the neighborhood than the 20-story building that they want to buy, that they want to build. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there seems to be 2 incentives that the builder has. They have 12 stories that they could do basically by right of way, I believe. And then they get another 4 stories for the subway bonus. And I believe they mentioned that they bought air rights from an adjoining building. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the air rights give them another 4 stories, which would make the building next to them shorter and would keep the building next to them lower height, even though they go higher. So if we allow a builder to get a bonus for subways and we allow a building to purchase air rights from another building, but then say when you add them all together, it's too tall, so you got to shrink something else, well, then those incentives become meaningless. What's the sense of getting 4 stories from the subways and having to give it up on your basic FAR qualifications? Or what's the sense of buying air rights if you're going to have to give it up anyway someplace else in the development? So as out of size as this is for the neighborhood, and remember, this is not in the heart of the neighborhood. It's in the Soho district, but it's at the very periphery, Canal and Broadway. So if you have to exceed to these bonuses that they're given, and if you want more housing, which will end up in landmarks committee, then this is the place, if any place in Soho can tolerate this inappropriately tall building, then this is the place to do it. And all these things I think should be kept in consideration.
David? Can we get a microphone to David? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I think the original building with the air rights was 13 stories. And so this additional 1.94 FAR for the incentive is the one that's pushing it up to 21 stories. This is not a zero-sum game where it's either, the 3 stories that it's existing now or 21 stories. I think that the 13 stories done by a very talented architect, people in the district and people who were involved with Soho thought was a good building. And you're right, it's on the periphery of the bound of the building of the district. But at 21 stories, it's not. And that's what is being argued here. Landmarks has the right to review it, and they could say, no, it's too tall, and it's not a matter of killing it. Remember, 13 stories with the purchase of the air rights was the original height. Thank you.
Great. Any further discussion? Chris and then Eddie? Again, this is on the amendment. So we have to vote on the amendment and then we vote on the resolution.
The context for me is that it's a housing crisis. I think we should have more housing. I'm voting no on this.
And Eddie?
Yes, we have a 1.4 vacancy rate in New York City. Median asking rents in Manhattan have exceeded $5,000 a month, in part due to that extreme housing crisis. I'm voting no on this. And it seems to me that this amendment doesn't have the courage of its convictions in asking LPC to consider reducing the height, but not actually stating that the height should be reduced and naming a specific target to that. So thank you.
Okay, then we have Sean and Susan.
The additional units are not going to be affordable housing. They're going to be luxury housing, luxury at $2,000 a square foot. Mostly going to be pied-à-terres and people from out of town, from foreign countries who are buying. That's who's buying in Soho nowadays. This is nothing. You're chasing a dream if you think you're going to get any affordable housing. You're not. Zero affordable housing because of this additional 34,000. That's the fact.
Susan?
Susan.
And again, we still have to vote on the amendment and then we vote on the resolution. Just want to make sure everyone knows that we're discussing the amendment.
Yeah, just a point of clarification on the housing issue. I would say, Eddie, to your point, one reason that I would say that we were reluctant to just deny this outright is because we would not want to jeopardize any of this housing, and that the current proposal actually provided 6 additional beyond what the original had. So there is affordable housing there. Is it inadequate? Of course it's inadequate, but it's there. And the reason we didn't, in terms of your courage of it, your convictions, the reason we would not dream of denying it outright is because we would not dream of depriving the community of affordable units.
Chanel, and again, we're still on we still need to vote on the amendment and then we need to vote on the resolution. So Chanel?
I think it was Sean. I don't have the screen now because I have the resolution. This added bonus bulk that we've discussed. Again, it does not provide additional housing at a reduced rate. But what it does, if you will, instead of that, is provide for the accessible entrance to the subway. They're 2 separate ones, as I explained, and there was never any discussion there'd be more affordable housing with the new bonus, but if you will, the payment is the subway.
Okay, great. Is there any unwillingness to vote on this amendment as presented? Seeing none, all those in favor, we are going to be taking, I see there's people conversing in the back. If you could take that outside, but we are going to take a vote on this amendment. Is there any unwillingness to vote on this amendment as presented? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
All right, if folks opposed wouldn't mind keeping their hands up for a second, okay? I'll call your name when you can put your hand down. Okay, Chris Dignas.
And
Eddie
again, this is the amendment.
Arturo Fernandez. Will Benesh. Garcia Sands. Any other hands that I have missed for no?
An abstention? Any abstentions on the amendment?
I raised my hand. I'm Dr. Smith.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't get your vote. Dr. Smith?
My hand is raised, so I was an abstention.
Okay.
Thanks, Dr. Smith.
On the amendment.
On the amendment. We are on the
Yep.
amendment. Mhm.
Dr. Smith, I've got you as an abstention. You can put your hand
Thank you.
down.
Thank you.
Erica, go ahead. Sam? Sam, okay. Wait.
Mhm.
Okay, I got you, David. Thank you. And Alec? Okay. Any other abstentions that I've missed?
Any
hands that I've missed here?
Any recusals?
Okay.
Emma, can you tally and let us know?
Yep, that's 5 noes, 4 abstentions, and 0 recusals. We have 36 folks present at the meeting right now. That means there were 27 yeses, unless
Mark, do you have a question?
someone's name was not called out.
That has to go out tonight. So I only have 3 abstentions. Could you read through who it
Of course,
is?
I have Dr. Smith, Erica Olson, David Sandman, Alec Perchinsky.
If you can make sure
I will
that
get
Mark
that.
has that,
Do you
or
have
that
those
link,
four?
or that this is incorporated in the final resolution. Thank you.
Not at all, thank you.
All right, so now we have the resolution on the floor. Is there any further discussion on the resolution, or are we ready to vote on resolution number 3 on landmarks 2? Any further discussion? Okay, I'm not seeing any unwillingness to vote, so all those in favor of the amended resolution for 277 Canal Street? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, folks, you know the drill. Keep your hands up. Chris, you're right in my line of sight this evening. You're good. Eddie? Other hands? Alec? Okay.
We're not
I'll
to that
get to you
yet.
next. Thank you, thank you. No, you're good. Rosia, you're a no? Okay.
Patricia, are you voting? I can't tell if there's a hand up or not. Okay. Next, any abstentions on 277 Canal Street as amended?
I'm
Okay,
abstaining.
David?
I'm
Thank you,
abstaining.
Dr. Thanks, Dr. Smith. I've got you.
Okay, thanks.
Dr. Smith abstains. David, I've got you. Erica? Alec? I'm also abstaining from this, but are there any other hands?
Any
that I missed?
abstentions? Any recusals? Just so we can get that so that Mark can have this one and get it on its way.
No recusals, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, great. That's 3 no's on the amended
Resolution.
That's 5 abstentions, no recusals. That means 28 yeses because we have 36 folks present.
Great. Thank you very much. So with that, we will then go to street activities and resiliency. Street activities. Okay.
Hello. Good. Okay. We had 28 resolutions this month. It's a busy time. The first 15 of which already occurred, but I will run through them. Number 1, the Stoney and Duncan collab on Bleecker between Charles and Perry, which was a unanimous approval. Number 2, the Steve Madden sampling truck at 494 Broadway. Unanimous approval. I can say the dates if that's helpful. That was on June 5th. Unanimous approval. Number 3, June 5th to 6th, the JBL and New York Yankees collaboration activation at 19 East Houston. Also unanimous approval. Number 4, on June 5th, the Tribeca Film Festival and MAB collaboration, which was a unanimous denial because they no-showed. Number 5, June 8th to June 26th, a runner installation and meatpacking on the 14th Street Square Plaza. No-show, so automatic unanimous denial, or automatic denial, which was unanimous. The Citrion coffee truck is number 6 on June 9th. The McNally Jackson bookstore on Broadway between East Houston and Prince, which was recommended for unanimous approval. Number 7, June 5th to June 7th, the Prada NYC Mode event at 575 Broadway, which actually was on Prince in practice, and we unanimously approved that one. Number 8, the Daily Drills pop-up, which was at the Shopify spot on Green and Prince, which we're always looking for feedback on. So for new board members, anytime you see any photos or anything, please always let us know. Shopify is one of the recurring places that we sometimes have issues. But we unanimously approved that one. I'm on number 9, June 9th, Card Vault at 244 Lafayette, the ice cream giveaway. We did recommend this one for approval unanimously, but we did have some stipulations to call out, most notably that the applicant did not promote Tom Brady's appearance ahead of time as to avoid chaos. Number 10, June 9th, the Pura and Calm installation on Gansevoort Plaza, which we recommended for approval unanimously. Number
I have a question.
11.
I'm sorry, on number 10, there's a bunch of spaces. Are there things missing from number 10?
Spaces?
Okay. Great. Continue.
Okay, we're on number 11. On June 9th, the Flying Solo Awards, which was on Bleecker between Elizabeth and Mott. We recommended approval unanimously. Number 12, June 10th, a Spotify activation on Gansevoort Plaza, which we recommended for denial unanimously because they did not show up to the meeting. Number 13, Oreo Cakesters NYC pop-up event. This was on West 12th between Greenwich and Washington. Little West 12th, we need to make that amendment. Will, maybe you can write that down when we remove the spaces. Also recommended for approval unanimously. Number 14, Phillips Coffee sampling activation on Mott between East Houston and Prince. Unanimous denial. They did not show up to the meeting. Number 15, on June 17th, the K2 and Burberry launch event at Corner Bistro, which is 331 West 4th. We recommended for approval unanimously. Now, just FYI, I'm up to events that are going to go forward.
If we could just wait, we'll call it out. Are you saying 16 is an FYI renewal? I'm confused.
No, I'm just saying now I'm on events that are going to
Oh,
happen in
got
the
it. Okay, got it. Okay, got
if
it.
that's helpful.
Okay, can you get a microphone, please? Thanks.
Well, forgive my newness. Why are we voting retroactively on events that have already happened?
I know. Will, could you have a microphone? Could you give a microphone, please?
Yeah, this is a recurring issue. So it turns out the way that the city rules are is certain small events only require as little as a 2-week lead time. They're put in here a little bit more just for tracking purposes, right? Of ones, because we still want to hear the application, even if it's going to happen before full board. Sometimes if there's real issues, we can flag those to SAPO ahead of time. So it's because we still want to have an opinion on whether we liked what an event was doing or not, even if we're not actually voting until after it happens. We've asked to see if they could change the lead times, and it's something that would have to be like a city rules change.
And to be clear, the entire purpose of the community board is to be a forum for the public to come be heard. And sometimes that's the only opportunity, which it is before the event. It's just not before our full board meeting, that the producer or production company of the event or the applicant representing the applicant or the applicant can hear from the public and make changes or come to some sort of good spirit agreement. So that's the main reason. And Will did a great job of explaining just kind of the administrative that we have to deal with. Yes, Will, can you get a microphone?
I have it still. And I thought while I have the microphone, I just add, because it might be a question that'll come up. Certain events that have happened multiple times in the past and haven't had an issue, those are when they move to the FYI renewals section, which you'll see at the end.
Great, thank you.
And we are able to put comments in the SAPO portal. So also for board members as well as public, anyone who can see something and you have an opinion on it, but you know it's going to happen before full board, please do come to the
Right,
committee.
so let's continue. And then if there's any additional questions, we'll do call outs just so we can get through this because we are coming up on time.
All right, we're number 16, June 20th, McDougal Street Mambo, on McDougal Street, between Prince and West Houston, unanimous approval. Number 17, June 20th to 21st, Wademan and Shopify pop-up on Green between Prince and West Houston, unanimous approval. Number 18, Hant on Bond between Bowery and Lafayette, although we have suggested they move to Great Jones, unanimous approval. Number 19, June 25th to June 27th, Visit Morocco on Gansevoort Plaza. They did not show up, so it was a unanimous denial. Number 20, it's pronounced Parallel Sampling Truck at 386 Bleecker between Perry and West 11th. That is unanimous approval. Number 21, Rock Nation Special Activation in the decommissioned MTA Bowery Station. There's a lot of different locations here, but it's mostly on Kenmare. between Bowery and Broome. Bowery and Broome? Bowery and Elizabeth. Unanimous approval with some stipulations. I'm not going to go through those. You can read them, but it's basically making sure they don't overstay what they are applying for. Number 22, June 27th, the SK June event, which SK is Spinelli Kilcullen, on Crosby between Prince and Spring. This was a recommended denial, which was unanimous because of the significant neighborhood disruption it was going to cause. Number 23, June 30th to July 1st, the Glace Tour by Candela, which was a no-show, so unanimous deny. Number 24, June 11th to June 12th, the Slate Auto Community Event at 16 Morton was a unanimous approval. Number 25, the BIC Back to School LaGuardia Place bus on LaGuardia between Washington and West 3rd was unanimous approval. Number 26, Unilever Fresh Clubhouse on Gansevoort Plaza was also a unanimous approval. And then number 27 and 28 are the FYI renewals that Will mentioned. We don't have them show up, but both are unanimous approved. The June 26th Stonewall Day at Stonewall National Monument Visitor Center, 51 Christopher, as well as number 28, June 25th, the Door Bag Block Party on 6th Ave between Broome and Spring.
Great. And then for the last page, if we could just strike organizing committee meeting, it seems like it was a separate meeting, and just put it at the end of your report here, and then say who submitted it, because there's no who submitted it, like respectfully submitted. So if you could just make those changes, but this should just go at the end of that. It doesn't need to be organizing committee meeting. And with that, is there any that people would like to call out? We have 1 through 27.
Call out number 15.
Okay, please raise your hand. But call out 15, that's fine. Anyone else? Any other numbers to call out? Okay, so now we're going to take a vote on 1 through 14, and then 6. Yes, Rocio, you'd like to call one? Well, you need a microphone. I understand that. Thank you. I'm just trying to see if where this is not a roll call because we're calling out number 15. They'll be voted on separately. So thank you so much for the Roberts rules. So with that, we have 1 through 14, then we have 16 through 27. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions, recusals? No.
Recusals.
Okay, so
Okay.
Donna?
So I'm recusing on number 5, 10, 12, 13, 19, 23, 26.
Could you
I am
why,
a
please?
voting member of the meatpacking bid.
Thank you so much. So with that, we have number 15 on the floor for discussion, and that will be a roll call vote when we're ready. Would you like to?
I'd like to make 3 comments. I'm unaware of any community outreach. As chair of the Jane Street Block Association, I'm pretty sure that nobody in the community, nobody reached out to the community. Number 2, they've changed the awnings of Corner Bistro for, I assume, the period of this event, but have no idea, so they don't, that's not listed anywhere here, so the appearance of the location looks quite different. And number 3, the doors will swing open and close as they normally do. The doors are always open. They never close. And it's very loud. So those are the 3 comments.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Is there any unwillingness to vote on number 15, which will be a roll call vote? Okay. Emma, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, folks. That's the night. Thank you. Chris Arroyo. And for this one, you give your vote as your expression of attendance. Okay. Rohit Balani. Okay. Will Banesh. Keenberger. Carter Booth. Katie Bordenaro.
We can't hear the votes in the room. I don't, online. How do we know
Well, she is speaking into a microphone. Maybe.
Can you hear me, Katie?
I can't
Do you want
hear
me to
whether
repeat them
someone-
back?
I'd like to know how people are voting.
We actually have to repeat it because when I did this
folks
last,
can't hear?
I'm just,
Oh,
because
that's
when I
right.
did it
You
last
did.
month, you
You
can't
did.
hear it because
Okay.
they don't have a microphone, so.
Okay, that's fine.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, so Chris Arroyo abstained, Rohit Balani abstained, Will Banesh, yes, Keenberger, yes, Carter Booth, yes. Katie, it's your turn.
Okay, I'll vote yes. Thank
Katie
you.
Bornero, yes, no problem. Kate Bostock? Okay, no. Rich Cacapolo? Yes. Valerie De La Rosa?
Yes.
Yes. Chris Dignas? Yes. Manaswini Dixit?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you. Arturo Fernandez? Yes. Mar Fitzgerald?
Yes.
Yes. Cormac Flynn? Cormac Flynn says no. Susan Gammy? Yes. Eileen Gribben? Yes. David Gruber? Yes. Jill Hannekamp?
Yes.
Yes. Susan Kent? Yes. Patricia Laria?
Yes.
Yes. Ed Ma? Mr. Ma, you might be frozen. Can you hear me? Okay, we will come back. Paul McDade? Yes. Erica Olson? Yes. Alec Pruznicki? Yes. Donna Raftery?
Yes.
Yes. Lois Rakoff? Yes. David Sandban? Yes. Rocio Sands? Yes. Edward Siegel? Yes. Frederica Siegel?
Yes.
Yes. Emma Smith? Yes. Dr. Shirley Smith?
Yes.
Yes. Chenault Spence?
Yes.
Yes. Sean Sweeney? No. Susan Wittenberg? Yes. Anthony Wong? No. This still passes, but yeah, thanks all.
With that, is there any new business? Susan, would you like to get a microphone, please? New business?
This is a question for Will, and I've written to the committee a couple of times. We now in Soho and maybe and extended beyond that have constant store product drops that have gotten out of control on another level, escalating and peaking about a week or so ago with a global event for Swatch, 200, 250 stores around the world, people camping outside in the street for over a week. These stores this is of no benefit to the community. They pay nothing. If they would pay something, at least there would be a chance to clean up afterwards so that the city can't do it. The city can't keep up. There's no extra cleaning service in Soho like Ace. There's no bid. We don't have one. We don't need it. But it's just a negative to the community because the neighborhood gets worse and worse and dirtier, and it's out of control. And it's really the Swatch event. It was a nightmare around the world. I mean, people OD'd in Dubai and Troy, New York. And no other area around the world had it in a residential neighborhood. Swatch afterwards said, oh, we had some glitches, but it was a success. So I just think it's out of control. And what can be done about this? We've never seen anything like it before. And we don't even.
If you'd like to speak, you need to raise your hand. Well,
I agree 1,000%. I think if you listen to our meetings, that's one of the issues that we talk about the most is these pop-up events that are causing increasing issues all over our neighborhood. We've tried different things. We always try to call it out to SAPO. We've tried to identify the most problematic spaces actually, and we put a list of those spaces together and had Chris Marte write a letter about it. So we've tried different things. The ironic thing about collecting fees is that the ones that try to do at least somewhat of the right thing and actually file an application with SAPO, they do pay a fee, which they should for taking up street space. The problem is the ones who don't file for an application. So one, we don't know it's coming, and two, they don't end up paying a fee, and then there's no enforcement. So it's like people almost for doing the right thing get a bit penalized because they end up paying the normal SAPO fee. And so I mean, we're all open to any other ideas of what to do because we're trying to raise it with as many people as we can, with the electeds, with SAPO, et cetera. So maybe there's something we do with DOB. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, honestly, open to ideas because we're trying to fight the same battle.
It sounds like a great opportunity to go to a well-run street activities and resilience committee, resiliency. Any additional new business? Thank you, Susan, for raising that. Appreciate it. Any additional new business? Lois, we will need a microphone, please. Thank you.
For those of you that gave well wishes for Greg Lambert, Will Weeder's husband, there is a memorial at the National Arts Club on Thursday, June 25th. It's not going to be where people will go and say testimony after testimony after testimony. But if you wish to attend, could you let me know? And then I could RSVP for you to Greg Lambert. Okay, thank you.
And that was a past, CB2 member that passed away. Thank you very much. Other than that, is there any additional new business? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So, Cormac and second from Erica Wilson. Thank you so much. This meeting is now adjourned at 9:46 p.m.